Okay, let's go to the BCSN final top five football rankings for the 2023 season. And again, our top five rankings, which begin after the first 4 weeks of the football season, are really a computer generated ranking of teams' performance, taking into huh? Okay, I'm not. What? What are you telling me? I don't know. My producer's telling me something here. Um. Okay. I mean, I don't know what. Well, the top. Okay, so I'm in a groove. You guys. Okay. Anyway, top five rankings.
Live. We live, Brian. Remember, we live.
I know, but my producer's shouting in my ear about some. I don't know what he's shooting me in the ear about. But anyway,
producer needs to give us some inner ear, inner earpieces so we can hear that stuff without everybody.
I don't want to enter earpiece with this producer who gives me irrelevant information at the wrong time and moment. Okay, let's start with the non-Division One level. Non-Division One level are teams that just missed the top five. So we call the next five. Essentially, this might be your 6 through 10. Okay,
they were in the hunt during the season.
In the hunt during the season. It starts with Miles College. Finished their season 7-3, 6-2 out of the SIAC. Fayetteville State made it to the CIAA championship game for I believe, the 6th consecutive year.
See the 5 or 6.
Yeah, 8-3, 8-0 in the Southern Division. Tuskegee, Drew's alma mater, finishes their season 7-4, 6-2 in the SIAC. Edward Waters University, great year by the Tigers. Coach Morgan over there, 6-4, 5-3 in conference play. And then Johnson C. Smith rounds out the top 10, 6 through 10, by finishing their season 7-4, 6-2. Technically, they went to the bowl game, the Florida Beach Bowl.
That was the 4th. Yeah, that was number 4. And what I found interesting, Brian, and I think because coming into that last game, Allen was sitting in that 9-10 slot, and the fact that they played an extra Division II game, even though it was a loss, and Allen had that one game on their schedule that was not counted. I believe that was week 2 against a non-countable opponent. I think that's the reason why the computer kicked Allen out and bumped Johnson C. Smith in despite the loss.
All right, let's get into the final top 5 rankings. Finishing the 2023 season at number 5, Florida Memorial. The Florida Memorial Lions finished 6-4, 5-2 in the Sun Conference. A great season for Florida Memorial as they really set some first within their play in the Sun Conference. And this is a program, Drew? They reinstituted their football program
during the pandemic.
Yeah, 2020 during the pandemic. So this is just season 4. I think they'll be an exciting team to watch and keep track of, because they had more than a couple games where they had over like 600 yards of offense. I mean, a couple games where they even hit the 700 mark.
So, I believe they hit 500 against who did they play out the SWAC? Was they
Grambling?
Grambling.
They did hit over 500 against Grambling.
Yes.
Yeah. So congratulations to Florida Memorial. Number 4, Virginia State Trojans, 8-2. 6-2 in conference play out of the CIAA. And no one will forget, Virginia State was rolling, got the opening season win against Norfolk State. And then I think they ran off 7 in a row before they stumbled. And then they lost 2 of the last 3, including their game against their rival, Virginia Union.
Correct.
Number 3, Fort Valley State. The Wildcats finished the Florida Beach Bowl champions, 8-3, 6-2 in conference play. This is a team, Drew, that I'm glad to see the computers thought as highly of this team as I did in some of my polls, because I had Fort Valley State as a top 5 team, and I know a lot of people's polls did not. So I was glad to see the computers were thinking like I was based on the performance I saw on the field. So congrats to Fort Valley State finishing number 3. Number 2, Virginia Union, 10-2 season, 7-1. They won their first CIAA football championship for the first time in over 20-something years, if I'm not mistaken. Program's going in the right direction. Second year in the Division II playoffs, and what Dr. Parker is doing with those guys is really impressive. And Union is a team that I think is here to stay in the mix. Our number 1 team, the Benedict Tigers, for the second consecutive year. Benedict.
Tell me, you got to put the one finger up like he at church next time he do that.
Yeah, excuse me. Benedict 11-1, 8-0. Second year in a row that Coach Chinnisberry led that team to an unbeaten regular season. Only other time that happened, or the last time that happened in the HBCU football world, was Connell Maynard doing it at Winston-Salem State. Coach Berry goes on after his success at Benedict. He'll be now coaching at South Carolina State. And I think we're still waiting to see who will take over the Benedict job. But, in summation, congratulations to Benedict College and what they've done. And whoever it is, hopefully they continue on with the tradition, because Coach Berry has left it better than when he got there. And at the end of the day, that's what it should always be about as a coach or even an administrator. Your thoughts, anything you want to add on Benedict, Drew?
No, I mean, great run there by Benedict. Question is, like you said, who's going to be there and can they sustain it? How many players from Benedict are going to try to follow Coach Berry to South Carolina State or to other schools? So there's a lot going on in Columbia, South Carolina, because I've got those same questions about Allen, right, who's right across the street from Benedict. So, but once again, kudos, congratulations for Coach Berry. You did what you were supposed to do. Now it's time to move on and see if you can duplicate it and see how long it takes you to get to Atlanta, my brother.
That's the second consecutive year Benedict has won or will be recognized as the BCSN national champions. The 3 playing seasons before these 2, it was Bowie State. Bowie State had a 3-peat from 2018, 2019, and 2021. Obviously, there was no BCSN football champion awarded.
I believe Bowie won 4 consecutive. Brian, did we not do one in 17?
You got me. I'd have to go back and look at 17. I'm not sure, because I think 18 was Amir Hall's senior year was 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go over to the men's. Not the men's, but Division I.
They are the men.
The big boys. The Division I FCS level top 5 final rankings for the 2023 season. Schools that were in the hunt and would finish 6 through 10 if it was a normal top 10. As you can see, 4 schools out of the SWAC, but number 6 is Hampton, which Hampton finished 5-6, 3-5 in the Colonial. Pretty good season for Hampton. Many people picked them to finish dead last. I think they had a couple of injuries that wrecked the season in the middle, but there was even a point where, somebody on this show might have ranked them number 1 at one point in the season. I don't know who that was, but
I'll take part of that.
Yeah, they were at one time, and then it kind of went south after that. But Jackson State finishes 7-4, 5-3. Obviously, it hurt lost the last game of the season. I think that hurt them. Prairie View finished the season 6-6, winners of the SWAC West, lost in the championship game for the second time in the last 3 seasons.
And what hurt Prairie View was 0 non-conference wins.
Yeah, exactly. 6-2 was what was needed to be done. Southern, with by nature of probably winning the Bayou Classic, now head coach Terrence Graves will look to see what he can do in a full season for Southern. They finished 6-5, 5-3 last year. And then Alabama A&M comes in last, 10th, 5-6 overall, 3-5.
Brian, we had to go 5-10, and Alabama A&M was like the best of the rest.
Yeah, what's interesting? What's interesting is among FCS schools, I think there were only 8 that finished with a 500 or better record. Correct me if I'm wrong. There were only 8.
Well, if you look at our top 10, 2 of our top 10 are one game below 500.
Yeah.
So you are correct.
Yeah. But Alabama A&M second consecutive sub 500 season. So we'll see. Interesting times ahead for Coach Connell Maynor. All right, let's get to the top 5. Let's see what they look like. Number 5, Tennessee State. Coach Eddie George. A good, I would say,
he's going on the right direction.
Under disappointing season, because the season started well. I thought the first half of the season they were pacing like this could be a team that wins the OVC, and then the second half of the season,
the OVC happened.
Yeah, the OVC happened. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, it just kind of it bit them, and I think that's the next step. They fared well against HBCU competition. I don't think did they lose a game against an HBCU team? I don't think they did.
I don't recall one. They beat.
They would have gone 4-0 if I'm not mistaken. If you look at their record, I think let's see, 6. They would have played 5 non-conference games. I think 4 of those were against HBCUs. I think they went unbeaten. Here's an interesting thought, Drew. What if Tennessee State, who goes unbeaten in an HBCU schedule, non-conference, then somehow maybe wins the OVC? Let's just say that record was 4-2 instead of 2-4. Then they would have been 8-3. How much of an argument? And then they would have gone to the playoffs. How much of an argument would a team like Tennessee State have made towards having a claim to a Black College National Championship?
It takes multiple wins in the FCS playoffs with a comparable record as whoever your HBCU National Champion Celebration Bowl winner is. And given this year with Florida A&M finishing 12-1, it would have really been tough for Tennessee State to get in. Same thing last year with the Central finishing 11-1. No, Central finished 10-2 last year. 10-2 last year. It would have been tough to get it. Now, if you go back 2 years ago when the South Carolina State beat Jackson State, that would have been a good path for something like what you're talking about to happen.
Right.
In polls that do not automatically recognize the Celebration Bowl winner as the national champion.
3 seasons with Eddie George at the helm. He's going into year 4. Are we? How high? What's your expectation level? First off, how would you grade the performance? 3 seasons, and is the expectation 8 wins and a conference, at least a shot at the conference title or being in the hunt, 1 or 2 next year?
Okay. How many wins did he have year 1, Brian?
I think he had 7 year 1.
Did he have 7 wins?
He either had 6 or 7 in year 1. And then it regressed to 4 last year.
If he had either 6 or 7 in year 1, then I have to give this season a C.
Give it what?
I have to give it a C.
A C. Okay.
A C. Because if you think about year one, you came in, you won with somebody else's players, in theory. Year two, you started getting your own players, and you took a step backwards. Which is kind of to be expected. You were 2 wins better this season. So that's average. That is average. That's right where you're supposed to be. Doesn't average mean you've done what is expected of you? You haven't done. B means you've done something above expectations. A means you have done exceptional. Correct? So
yes.
I give it a C. He met expectations.
Okay. Tennessee State, Lawrence said Tennessee State had 4 wins.
I was going back 2 years ago, Lawrence. If you know,
well, but 2 years ago, I think he only had 6 wins. I think that 2 years ago was his first year; he had 6. Then it went down to 4. Then this year he had back up to 6. I think so. So
and John, yeah, this has to be the year. He cannot regress this year. If he does anything less than 6, he may find himself on the outside looking in.
Dissatisfaction will rear its ugly head.
And
5 wins. So this 6 wins was the best season according to Lawrence. 5, he had 5 2 years ago, regressed to 4, and then jumped up to 6. So he's been all over.
I got to get 7 wins and plus 500 in the conference, 500 or above in the conference.
But I'd say just flat out above 500. But I think the OVC is going to change. You won't have a 7-team league. I think they go to where there'll be more conference games next year. I think because of their merger, I think it's more conference games next year on their schedule. But they got to get some wins in the transfer portal too. I could just be missing it because I'm
Brian.
They need to get some wins.
Nobody wants to play in an empty stadium.
Ooh, okay. Let's move on. That's a shot. All right, number 4.
Take those 4,000 people playing a smaller venue, and I've got a better feeling about playing than I do in those 4,000 in a 60,000 seat stadium. Yes, I said it.
All right, number 4 is Alabama State. Finished the season 7-4, 5-3. Now they lost their last game of the season. Alabama State did.
They beat Tuskegee. They lost their last SWAC game of the season.
I'm sorry. Okay. See, there's your big adjustment right there. They beat Tuskegee. I forgot about that. Yes. That win.
The Tuskegee Golden Tigers who scored a total of 6 points against the 2 FCSs in Alabama.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying. You want to keep punishing yourself? Go ahead. I'm trying to help you get out of it. So you don't have to keep living in that punishment. But they beat Jackson State at homecoming, and that might be a big reason why you see them in the top 5 and not that school from Mississippi. So congrats to Coach Eddie Robinson. His second year, let me see. Last year, what did Alabama State go last year? Just about 500, I think, maybe last year, 6-5.
I think they were 5-6 last year.
Okay. Either 5-6 or 6-5. So 7 wins is good.
Improvement.
Yeah, improvement. Coach Robinson has that team going in the right direction.
B-.
They will be B-. Okay.
B-.
I give them a solid B. I think the defense was competitive, worthy. The offense needed more. They didn't get the kind of quarterback play.
Hence the minus. The offense was putrid.
All right. They went 6-5 according to John. So that's they will be in the hunt. They're going to be one of those 3 East teams that people are going to be looking for. So we'll see what the offseason does for Alabama State. Number 3, Howard University. MEAC champions, second year. 6-6, which is an improvement from a year ago. Runner-up in the Celebration Bowl. I think this is the right spot for Howard. I think this is probably the good spot for them where their season went. So it was real interesting. I tell you, Drew, have you had a chance to go back and watch and listen to the game from the ESPN from Tiffany and Jay?
Bits and pieces of it.
I really, it's an interesting watch and listen. Obviously we're watching through binoculars and focused on, players, and you're looking at the computer typing in. But when you get a chance to watch its in entirety and listen to the comments, see the replays, and run them again over, you come away with certain thoughts about that game. And it was just interesting to kind of see Howard. It makes me want to go back, and Howard fans should just really appreciate that North Carolina Central game. That's what watching the replay of the game makes me say. You should really go back and that game against North Carolina Central is the highlight game of the decade. Best win in might be this millennium for Howard because it won you a title that you probably wouldn't have got any other way. And so I think you ought to celebrate that game and watch it on replay as many times as you can.
Can I answer G Boom's question while it's on the while I see it right there? Go ahead and pop that one up if you would, Roy.
I got it. Let's see.
Basically, and looking at the numbers that the computer put in, PV, despite the fact that they finished second, 0 non-conference wins. Bama State, even with the loss to Miles, who was a Division II, still had non-conference victories that they had there.
Who were the kind of non-conference wins, Drew?
Now you got me going back and looking, but
one of them was Tuskegee.
Yes, one of them was Tuskegee.
And didn't they beat Southern?
That game did not count. Yeah, that game did not count.
So that was a game against Southern.
Right. And also, boom, the strength of schedule, the East strength of schedule just among itself was better than the West strength of schedule against those teams playing against each other. Those teams were rated higher. So
again,
just something to put out there.
Yeah, and this is computer generated.
Computer generated. This is not opinion.
Right. This isn't opinion. This is an opinion.
Strength of schedule, non-conference victories.
Yeah.
And
even with one of them being a D2 school.
And margin of victory goes into it. And if I remember, Prairie View got blown out in 2 of those non-conference losses, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yes. Even a conference game they got. But anyway,
yeah.
All right. All right. Love y'all. Number 2. I think we all know who number 2 is. North Carolina Central finishes 9-3, 4-1 in MEAC play. A bad night denied us the matchup that I know the HBCU diaspora wanted. Now, if that matchup would have happened, North Carolina Central versus FAMU, would that have broken the record of the 49,000 between Jackson and was it Southern or South Carolina?
No, Jackson Central was the record.
Oh, that was the 49. Okay.
I still think this would have came in third, but it would have been well north of 45.
Okay.
I still don't think we would have got to the 50, but we'd have been 45, 46,000 with that game. And Brian, remember when we got there, before we got the numbers, who called 41?
You did. Yes, you did. Congratulations. Yep. I was a little higher, but optimistic me.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I just lost audio from the studio, Brian.
Hello. Can you hear me, Drew?
I hear you now. I don't hear Brian.
Yeah, audio just went out. All right, changing it up. All right. Might be a battery. All right. All right. So, test 1, 2. How am I sounding?
There we go.
Give me a thumbs up. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Okay, so again, congratulations to Coach Trey Oliver, North Carolina Central, finishing number 2 after a year where they finished number 1 in the BCSN top 5. And, of course, our number 1 ranked team. For the second time, the Black College Sports Network recognizes Florida A&M University under head coach Willie Simmons as its national champion. This year, we can say it is an undisputed national champion. But what I love is that FAMU recognizes the honor, and Coach Simmons recognizes the honor from 2019. And so, hey, look, and you think back to the last few years, Florida A&M this year, North Carolina Central last year. Hold on a second. Whoever keeps flipping the slides, stay off the slides. I told you, keep your hands off the wheel. Damn it. Keep your hands off the wheel. The second, Florida A&M this year, North Carolina Central last year. Then in 2021, we recognize Jackson State as national champions, even though that was the year South Carolina State won the Celebration Bowl. Okay. Then the year before that, Florida A&M was recognized as national champs, even though North Carolina A&T won the Celebration Bowl. And then the year before that, which was 2018, North Carolina A&T. So,
and that
Florida
was the undefeated season, if I remember correctly.
That's the what? Yes, A&T was the undefeated season of 2018. Yeah. So for the second time, FAMU wins the honors. There you can see the final top 5 there. And then, of course, there's your beautiful graphic, Florida A&M 2023 Division I champions. Now, I was told, Drew, that championship rings were purchased for FAMU from Jostens for the 2019 national championship. And I don't know if those were ever distributed. I'm going to have to call up former AD Gaucher, and maybe I'll just ask Coach Simmons.
And because when you think about it, the pandemic came before they could get it.
Right. But and there was an athletic director change too that happened.
I think it was anyway.
2 of them. So that bill apparently never got paid until going into the VP Sykes took over. I did hear her mention that. So I'm just curious if those championship rings were ever distributed.
Well, and if never paid for them.
They've been paid for. So the question is, Drew, what are the chances for like memory keepsake? What are the chances we could get our hands on that ring? I mean, not that we had anything to do with the performance, but we did, the Black College Sports Network did bestow and recognize them as national champs. I feel like, there should be a ring that we maybe able to get our hands on somehow. I don't know. I mean, I'm just talking. Let me stop. But
I'd be happy with a replica.
A replica, right? It'd be a cool memorabilia thing to kind of have. But anyway.
And Bryan, shout out to Florida A&M. Let's see. What was it? Bowling?
Well, what are we talking?
No, championships, not tennis.
Well, are you talking where are you going with
calendar year this year?
Calendar year, you had you started with tennis,
golf.
No, not golf. You had baseball. Okay. Then in the then you had cross country.
Championship appearance and volleyball.
Volleyball went to the championship game.
Yes.
And then you had football. So they won titles in 4 or 5 conference championship games in the 2023 calendar year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Tamara T, am I missing anybody? She got 5 trophies. Who am I missing? Because volleyball technically was the calendar year of 2022. But even though it was the 22-23 season, See, I don't know if it's 5 trophies in one season. But anyway.
But just this calendar year.
Yeah, there's 2 different things. You got to be careful about that because calendar year is technically 2 school years because you have the spring semester and then you have essentially, school calendar resets in like July. Okay. And then so you have the fall sports, which is a new year. So
she said football had 5 trophies this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what she's talking about. Yes. Football won the Orange Blossom Classic. They won the Florida Classic. They were the SWAC East champions, the SWAC champions, and the Celebration Bowl champions. That's your 5. Correct. And yes, John did hit it right. 4 titles in the calendar year. So, and I'm sure there's some other schools that had some good seasons that had 4 conference. Like I would, somebody tell me. I feel like Alabama State might have won.
I know they won
championships.
I know they won both
2023.
They won both tracks, if I remember correctly. Alabama State, they won. No, they lost in the volleyball championship.
Prairie View might have been in the hunt for, and we're just talking the calendar year of 2023. I know when you get into the conference commissioner's trophy, that's a different thing. So
which Florida A&M or that school on the beach will never win.
I don't, what hurts us is the number of teams we have, but
we only offer the minimum sports, and there are all the other SWAC institutions play other sports that we do not offer, so they have the ability to accumulate points in those.
But if you finish first or second in multiple sports, which if you think about going in, I'm not really sure what we can expect from basketball for FAMU, but I feel confident that maybe indoor track and field might have a play at something. I think bowling will be in the hunt. I think golf will be in the hunt. And then you're going to have repeat opportunities for baseball and track. So,
but the fact we only have 1 tennis team and no soccer team hurts us.
Yes, it does. All right.